LEGO Star Wars has been around for nearly 25 years now, and has had some classic minifigures over the years that immediately became fan favorites. Now, of course, the opposite is also true, and some minifigures are still very poorly received years after their release. These are the minifigures that have left LEGO fans divided, or just downright disappointed. So with that being said, here are the top 5 most hated LEGO Star Wars minifigures. Starting off with a somewhat tame one is the First Order crew member from The Force Awakens. This 2015 minifigure appeared in about half a dozen sets to promote the release of Episode 7. This minifigure is just so generic, it's a bit hard to believe it released when it did. I could understand the lack of detail this minifigure has in maybe 2006, but this minifigure was released nearly a decade after. The helmet just looks so goofy. It's like he's wearing a trash bag or something. I don't really know how to explain it. And the only detail on this minifigure is the subtle printing on the torso, which is really not much. This is a pretty niche minifigure, but it's still worth including on this list. And it's no wonder that people disliked this one years after it came out. Moving on to number 4, we have Juno Eclipse from the Force Unleashed video game. First released in 2008, this minifigure is exclusive to the Rogue Shadow set. This was one of the first Star Wars minifigures based on a video game character and the expanded universe, and actually remains one of the only instances of such even now. Some fans have criticized this minifigure for its bizarre detail, particularly with the face and hair. The headpiece is just very strange and it stands out from a lot of other minifigures with those large blue eyes. She has very little contrast between the unusual hair printing and skin color, and that's not even to mention the lips. I figured this minifigure reused a head from Indiana Jones or something, but apparently it's actually exclusive to this minifigure. This is definitely one of the more outlandish LEGO Star Wars minifigures, and well, for good reason. Number 3 on this list goes to Aldarbito from 2000, and I mean, this character kind of gets a pass because it's so old, but that has not stopped fans from voicing their opinion on this guy. To say the least, this is a very unique minifigure, and it more closely resembles something you might find in a bin of like randomly assembled minifigure parts at your childhood friend's home, rather than something LEGO would release in an official set. This one is honestly just unsettling, from the humanoid yellow minifigure head to the just downright weird use of the battle droid pieces. This thing doesn't even look like the actual character, and LEGO even released this single piece version, which also isn't the most accurate, but is still so much better than whatever this is. This might just be the most clowned on Star Wars minifigure, for the reasons mentioned. How did the set designers translate the character to this 3-armed hodgepodge of plastic? But again, being from the second year of the theme, gives this one a partial pass. However, this is still not the most hated minifigure. Number 2, we have Clone Wars Padme Amidala, for obvious reasons. The Clone Wars series minifigures had a lot of fans scratching their heads because of those cartoonish faces, and Padme is probably the biggest example of such. Honorable mention goes out to the Clone Wars Mace Windu, but there's just something about Padme that takes the cake. Now, the main issue here is of course the bizarre printing and detail on the face, which may not be pleasant, but is technically accurate to the show at least. The eyes are uncharacteristically large, and the spacing between the facial features is just strange. This 2012 minifigure only appeared in one set, and while the rest of the minifigure is actually pretty nice, people just cannot ignore that creepy face piece. As a kid, I didn't really think the Clone Wars minifigures were that strange until I became older and realized just how out of place they look compared to other LEGO minifigures, more particularly other LEGO Star Wars minifigures at that. And I mean, even this one was unsettling as a kid though. Someone said this Padme looks like that female fish from Shark Tales, and I feel like that just about sums up the reception this minifigure received. And now, of course, the moment you have been waiting for, the #1 most hated LEGO Star Wars minifigure, which is none other than the Rebel Stormtrooper. This minifigure has been a source of frustration for many fans because of that goofy helmet. Collectors were disappointed with the detailing and just how out of place the piece was at the time. It doesn't even look like an actual Star Wars character. It really more resembles just like caricatures of stormtroopers from the Family Guy Star Wars parodies because of the exaggerated features on that helmet. Nobody wanted these angry misshapen helmets, and why does it look like it's frowning? I suppose they are accurate to the Rebel Stormtrooper from the show, but did LEGO really need to fix what was broken? This minifigure is so out of place next to other Stormtroopers, thus the reason LEGO fans get so angry talking about this minifigure even now. So there you have it, the top 5 most hated LEGO Star Wars minifigures. And remember, this is my opinion. Obviously there might be some of you who really like these minifigures despite their general unpopularity. Let me know in the comments which LEGO Star Wars minifigure you just can't stand, or which one you actually think is better than some may give it credit for. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like so that the YouTube algorithm will push it out to other LEGO enjoyers. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and all that fun stuff for more LEGO content and LEGO lore.